Imagine this. Somewhere in this vast, chaotic universe, there's a moment waiting for you. A moment so raw, so real, that it shifts the trajectory of your entire life. I'm standing here, looking out at all of you, and I can't help but wonder, is she here? Is the woman who will change my world, who will stand by my side as we chase the impossible, sitting in this audience watching this video right now? I'm not talking about some Hollywood scripted scene with dramatic music and perfectly timed lighting. Number I'm talking about something far more powerful, a spark, a connection, a moment where destiny doesn't just knock, it kicks the door down. That's what I dream of when I think about meeting my future wife, and I'm betting that somewhere deep inside, you're dreaming of a moment like that too. A moment that feels like the universe finally got its act together and said, here, this is it. Let me paint you a picture. It's not about grand gestures or some meticulously planned setup. I don't need a sunset over the Pacific or a candlelit dinner at a five-star restaurant. I see it happening in the most unassuming place, a bookstore in downtown Austin maybe, or a crowded coffee shop in Palo Alto where the line's too long and the barista's yelling orders. Picture this. I'm there, lost in my thoughts, probably overanalyzing some engineering problem or daydreaming about colonizing Mars, and then bam, our eyes meet. Not because we're trying to make it happen, but because the universe decided this is the moment. It's like two stars colliding in the vastness of space, creating a new light that wasn't there before. That's what I'm chasing, not just a meeting, but a collision of souls that feels like it was written in the cosmos long before we ever showed up. What makes this moment so electric isn't the setting. It's not about the coffee shop's vibe or the book we both reached for. It's about the energy. You know that feeling when you meet someone and it's like the air changes, like the room gets a little brighter, the noise fades, and for a split second, it's just you and them? That's what I'm talking about. A kind of energy that doesn't need words to explain it. It's raw, it's real, and it's undeniable. I want you, yes, you, the woman out there listening to this, to know that this is what I believe in. Not perfection, not some polished version of romance, but a connection so authentic it feels like you've known each other for lifetimes. Maybe this isn't the first time our paths have crossed in some cosmic sense. Maybe we're just picking up where we left off in another dimension, another reality. Now, let's get real for a second. I'm not standing here pretending I've got it all figured out. I don't. I've spent my life chasing big, audacious goals, building electric cars, launching rockets, dreaming of humans living on other planets. But this dream of meeting the woman who will share my life, it's bigger than any rocket I've ever built. It's more complex than any neural network I've designed because it's not about engineering or calculations. It's about something you can't quantify. It's about feeling like you've found the missing piece of a puzzle you didn't even know you were solving. And I know somewhere out there you're feeling it too. You're wondering if there's someone who will see you, not the version of you that's curated for the world, but the real you. The you who laughs too loud at bad jokes, who has big dreams that scare even you, who's got quirks and flaws and a fire inside that could light up the galaxy. I want you to lean into that fire. That's what this is about. This isn't just about me dreaming of meeting my future wife. It's about you, every woman watching this, realizing that you are the spark. You are the energy that can change someone's world. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to be you, the real you, because that's what I'm looking for. Not a checklist of qualities, not a resume of accomplishments, but a woman who walks into a room and owns it, not because she's trying, but because she's unapologetically herself. That's the kind of energy that stops me in my tracks. That's the kind of energy that makes me think, this is it. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Let's talk about what that moment might look like. Maybe it's in a bookstore and we both reach for the same dog-eared copy of Dune or The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Our hands brush and there's this split second where time slows down. Or maybe it's in a coffee shop and I say something awkward to the barista because, let's be honest, I'm not always the smoothest guy in the room and you laugh. Not a polite laugh, but a real one. The kind that makes me feel like I'm the most interesting person you've met all day. That laugh, it's going to stay with me. I'll carry it in my head long after I leave that coffee shop, replaying it like a song I can't stop humming. That's the power of authenticity. That's the power of being you, without filters, without pretense. And here's the thing, I don't want you to show up as someone you're not. I don't want you to feel like you need to be a certain way to catch my eye or anyone's eye. The world is full of people trying to fit into boxes, perfect Instagram posts, curated LinkedIn profiles, polished small talk. But that's not what makes a moment unforgettable. What makes it unforgettable is when you let your guard down, when you let the real you shine through. Maybe you're a little quirky, maybe you're obsessed with astrophysics or comic books or sustainable farming. Whatever it is, that's your superpower. That's what makes you the kind of person who can walk into someone's life and make it feel like the universe just hit the reset button. I know what you're thinking. Elon, that sounds great, but life isn't that simple. What if I'm not ready? What if I'm not enough? Let me stop you right there. You are enough. Right now, exactly as you are. The woman I dream of meeting isn't someone who's got it all figured out. She's someone who's on a journey, just like me. Someone who's not afraid to dream big, to take risks, to fall and get back up. Someone who's willing to look at the world and say, I'm going to leave my mark. That's what I'm drawn to. That's what makes my heart race. Not perfection, but passion. Not a finished product, but a work in progress that's unafraid to keep building. This moment I'm dreaming of, it's not just about me. It's about you too. It's about every woman out there who's ever doubted herself, who's ever wondered if she's enough, if she's worthy of a love that feels like destiny. I'm here to tell you, you are. You are worthy of a moment that changes everything. You are worthy of a connection that feels like it was written in the stars. But here's the catch, you've got to believe it first. You've got to walk into every room, every coffee shop, every bookstore with the confidence that you are enough. Because when you do, you radiate that energy. You become the kind of person who can stop someone like me in their tracks, make them forget about rockets and AI and Mars for a second and just think, whoa, who is she? Let's talk about the stakes here. Life is short, way too short to waste on pretending to be someone you're not. I've spent my life pushing boundaries, breaking rules, chasing what seems impossible. And I'll tell you something, the most impossible thing of all isn't building a spaceship or revolutionizing transportation. It's finding someone who makes you feel like you've come home, even when you're standing in the middle of a crowded room. That's the dream I'm chasing, and I know you're chasing it too in your own way. Maybe you're not thinking about it right now. Maybe you're focused on your career, your passions, your own big, audacious goals. But deep down, there's a moment out there waiting for you, a moment where everything clicks, where the world makes sense in a way it never did before. So here's my challenge to you. Don't wait for that moment to find you. Go out and live in a way that makes it inevitable. Be so unapologetically you that the universe has no choice but to bring you the kind of connection you deserve. Work on yourself, not because you need to be better to be loved, but because you owe it to yourself to become the fullest, most vibrant version of who you are. Chase your dreams with the same intensity I chase mine, whether it's starting a company, writing a book, or just figuring out what makes you light up inside. Do it with everything you've got. Because when you're living that way, you're not just waiting for destiny, you're creating it. I can't tell you when or where this moment will happen. I can't tell you if it's in a bookstore, a coffee shop, or some random street corner in New York City. All I know is that it's coming. And when it does, it's going to feel like the universe just sent me a message. Here she is, the one you've been waiting for. I'm not looking for someone to complete me. I'm looking for someone who's complete in herself, who's got her own fire, her own dreams, her own story, someone who's not afraid to challenge me, to laugh with me, to dream with me about a future that's bigger than either of us could imagine alone. So, to every woman listening, I want you to know this. You are a force. You are a universe unto yourself, full of potential, full of energy, full of light. Don't dim that light for anyone. Don't hide who you are to fit someone else's idea of perfect. The right person, the one who's meant to be in your life, will see you for who you are and love you for it. They'll feel that spark, that energy, that moment of recognition, just like I dream of feeling when I meet you. And when that moment comes, it's not going to be about the setting or the words or the circumstances. It's going to be about the truth that you are enough, that you are extraordinary, that you are the one someone out there is dreaming of right now. I'm standing here pouring my heart out because I believe in this. I believe in the power of a single moment to change everything. I believe in the kind of connection that doesn't need a script or a plan. It just happens like a comet streaking across the sky. And I believe that somewhere out there, maybe even in this audience, is the woman who will make that moment real for me. So keep being you, keep chasing your dreams, keep showing up as the incredible, imperfect, unstoppable force that you are. Because one day in some ordinary place, in some ordinary moment, you're going to walk into someone's life and make it extraordinary. And who knows, maybe that someone is me. All right, let's dive deeper. I'm standing here thinking about that moment when I meet her, the woman who's going to turn my world upside down in the best way possible. But this isn't just about me or my dreams. This is about you, every single woman listening right now, and the incredible power you hold when you decide to be unapologetically yourself. I'm not here to talk about some fairy tale romance or a checklist for love. I'm here to talk about something bigger, the courage it takes to show up as the real you, flaws and all, and why that's the most revolutionary act you can commit in a world obsessed with perfection. Let's be honest, life is messy. It's not a straight line from point A to point B. It's more like a chaotic scribble full of detours, dead ends, and unexpected breakthroughs. I've spent my life tackling problems that seem impossible, building reusable rockets, digging tunnels under cities, wiring AI to think like humans. But you know what's harder than all that? Being real in a world that's constantly trying to mold you into something else. Every day you're bombarded with messages about who you should be. Social media, ads, even well-meaning friends, they all push this idea that you need to be polished, perfect, and predictable to be worthy. I'm calling BS on that. The woman I dream of meeting doesn't fit into anyone's box. She's not here to check off society's list of shoulds. She's here to rewrite the rules, to carve her own path, to be so fiercely herself that the world can't help but take notice. Think about it. When was the last time you felt completely free to be you? Not the version of you that's curated for a job interview or a first date, but the you who dances in the kitchen when no one's watching, who geeks out over obscure facts about black holes or vintage vinyl records, who has dreams so big they scare you silly. That's the version of you I'm talking about. That's the version of you that's going to walk into a room one day and make someone, maybe even me, stop dead in their tracks and think, who is this force of nature? Because here's the truth. Authenticity isn't just attractive, it's magnetic. It's the kind of energy that pulls people in, not because you're trying, but because you're real. I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself walking into a coffee shop, not thinking about how you look or what you're supposed to say. You're just there, living your life, maybe lost in a book about quantum physics or scribbling ideas for your next big project in a notebook. You're not performing. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're just you. And in that moment, someone notices you, not because you're wearing the perfect outfit or saying the perfect thing, but because there's this spark in you that can't be faked. It's the spark of someone who's not afraid to be a little weird, a little different, a little human. That's what I dream of when I think about meeting my future wife. Not someone who's trying to be what I want, but someone who's so deeply herself that I can't help but want to know everything about her. Now, let's talk about why this matters. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be perfect. It needs more people who are brave enough to be real. I've spent enough time in boardrooms and tech conferences to know that the people who stand out aren't the ones with the slickest pitches or the most polished resumes. They're the ones who bring something unique to the table, something only they can offer. That's what I'm looking for in a partner, and it's what you should demand of yourself. Not perfection, but uniqueness. Your quirks, your passions, your scars, they're not flaws. They're your signature. They're what make you a one-of-a-kind masterpiece in a world full of mass-produced copies. Let me tell you something about my own journey. I've never been the guy who fits in. I've been called crazy, eccentric, even a little nuts for dreaming about things like colonizing Mars or building a car company from scratch in an industry dominated by giants. But those dreams, those so-called crazy ideas, are what got me here. They're what pushed me to keep going when everyone said it couldn't be done. And I'll let you in on a secret. I don't want a partner who fits in either. I want someone who's just as bold, just as unapologetic, just as willing to say, screw it, I'm going to do this my way. That's the kind of woman who's going to walk into my life and make me think, this is someone I need to know. This is someone who's going to challenge me, inspire me, and maybe even keep up with me. So here's my question for you. What's holding you back from being that woman? Is it fear? Fear of judgment, of not being enough, of failing? Let me tell you something, fear is a liar. It's the voice that tells you to play it safe, to hide your edges, to dim your light so you don't make anyone uncomfortable. But you weren't born to blend in, you were born to stand out. You were born to walk into a room and make people feel something, whether it's awe, curiosity, or just pure joy. And the moment you decide to embrace that, to stop apologizing for who you are, that's when you start attracting the kind of life, the kind of love, the kind of opportunities you deserve. I want you to think about the woman I'm dreaming of. She's not someone who's got it all figured out. She's someone who's figuring it out one messy, beautiful step at a time. Maybe she's building her own startup or writing poetry in her spare time or teaching herself to code because she's curious. Maybe she's got a laugh that fills the room or a quiet strength that makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. Whatever it is, it's not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about showing up with all your imperfections and saying, this is me and I'm enough. Because when you do that, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect that changes the world, one authentic moment at a time. Let's get practical for a second. How do you become that woman? How do you step into the kind of authenticity that makes you magnetic? It starts with small choices. Say what you mean, even if your voice shakes. Chase the things that light you up, even if they seem impractical. Stop comparing yourself to the highlight reels on social media and start celebrating the real, raw, unfiltered you. If you love something, own it. If you're scared, admit it. If you're excited, let it show. The more you practice being yourself, the more natural it becomes. And the more natural it becomes, the more you'll attract people who see you, really see you for who you are. I dream of a moment where I meet someone who's done that work, someone who's fought through the noise of the world to find her own voice, someone who's not afraid to laugh at my terrible jokes or call me out when I'm wrong, someone who's got her own mission, her own fire, her own reason for getting up in the morning. That's the kind of woman who's going to make me stop and think, this is it, this is the one. And I know she's out there because I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to every woman who's ever felt like she's too much or not enough, who's ever wondered if her dreams are too big or her flaws too obvious. I'm here to tell you, your dreams are just the right size, and your flaws are what make you unforgettable. This journey to authenticity isn't easy. I get it. I've spent years learning to embrace my own weirdness, my own obsessions, my own way of seeing the world. There were times when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I was too out there, too intense. But every time I leaned into who I am, every time I said, this is me, take it or leave it, that's when the magic happened. That's when I built companies, launched rockets, changed industries, and that's what I want for you, not just in love, but in life. I want you to lean into who you are so fiercely that the world has no choice but to pay attention. Because when you do, you're not just living, you're creating. You're creating a life that's yours, a love that's real, a legacy that's undeniable. So, to every woman out there, here's my plea. Don't hide, don't shrink, don't try to be someone else's version of perfect. Be your version of extraordinary. Be the woman who walks into a coffee shop or a bookstore or a boardroom and owns it not because you're trying, but because you're you. That's the woman I dream of meeting. That's the woman who's going to make me forget about the equations and the algorithms and the stars for a moment and just think, wow, she's here. And who knows, maybe she's you. Maybe you're the one I've been dreaming of, the one who's going to walk into my life and make it feel like the universe just sent me a signal. This is it. This is the moment. Keep being you because that's the only way we'll find each other. All right, let's push this further. I'm standing here thinking about that moment when our paths cross, the moment when I meet the woman who's going to light up my world like a supernova. But this isn't just about a romantic spark or some fleeting butterflies. It's about something deeper, something that hums with an energy you can't fake, an energy that tells you without a single word that this is no ordinary encounter. This is about the kind of connection that feels like it's been wired into the fabric of the universe itself. And I'm talking to you, every woman out there watching this, because I believe you have that energy inside you. You have the power to walk into someone's life and shift their entire reality, not by trying to be someone else, but by embracing the electric, one of a kind force that is you. Let's talk about energy. Not the kind that powers a Tesla or fuels a rocket to Mars, but the kind that flows between two people when they meet and something clicks. You know what I mean? It's that feeling when you lock eyes with someone and it's like the air gets charged, like the world slows down just enough for you to notice. I dream of that moment when I meet her, my future wife, and I feel that energy. It's not about what she says or what she's wearing. It's about the way her presence hits me, like a signal from a distant star finally reaching Earth. It's the kind of energy that doesn't need a script or a stage, it just exists, raw and undeniable, like gravity pulling two objects together. I want you to think about the last time you felt that kind of energy. Maybe it wasn't romantic, maybe it was a moment with a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger who said something that stuck with you. That's the power I'm talking about. It's the kind of connection that makes you feel alive, like you're part of something bigger than yourself. Now imagine harnessing that energy, not just in one moment, but in the way you live your life every single day. That's what I'm looking for in the woman I'll meet someday. Someone who radiates that kind of energy, not because she's trying to impress me, but because she's so fully herself that it spills out naturally like light from a star. Here's what I believe. Every one of you has that energy inside you. It's not something you have to create or manufacture. It's already there, waiting to be unleashed. But the world can be a noisy place full of distractions and expectations that try to drown it out. People will tell you to tone it down, to play it safe, to fit in. They'll say, don't be too loud, too bold, too different. But I'm here to tell you the opposite. Crank it up. Let that energy flow. Be the woman who walks into a room and changes the atmosphere, not because you're shouting, but because you're radiating something real. That's the kind of woman who's going to make me stop in my tracks and think, this is different. This is something I need to pay attention to. Let me paint a picture. Maybe we're at a tech conference and I'm stuck in a sea of jargon and PowerPoint slides, my mind half on neural networks and half on how to get to Mars faster. Then I see you standing there, maybe asking a question that cuts through the noise like a laser. It's not just what you say, it's the way you say it, with a fire in your eyes that says you're not here to blend in. Or maybe we're at a farmer's market and you're debating the best way to grow heirloom tomatoes with a vendor, your passion for something so simple lighting up the whole scene. That's the energy I'm talking about. It's not loud or showy, it's real. It's the kind of energy that makes me want to know your story, to understand what makes you tick, to figure out how someone like you exists in a world that so often tries to dim that kind of light. Now, let's get real about what it takes to live with that kind of energy. It's not always easy. I know what it's like to feel like the world doesn't get you. I've spent my life chasing ideas that most people thought were crazy: electric cars when everyone said gas was king, reusable rockets when the industry laughed, AI that can think like a human when skeptics called it science fiction. There were moments when I doubted myself, when I wondered if I was too out there, too intense. But every time I pushed through that doubt, every time I doubled down on what I believed in, that's when I found my energy. That's when I built things that changed the world. And I'm telling you, you have that same power. You have the ability to push through the noise, to find your frequency, and to broadcast it to the world. So, how do you do it? How do you tap into that energy and let it shine? It starts with trusting yourself, trusting that your passions, your quirks, your dreams, they're not accidents. They're your wiring, your code, your unique signal in the universe. Maybe you're obsessed with designing sustainable cities, or you spend your weekends painting murals, or you're teaching yourself to play the guitar because it makes your soul sing. Whatever it is, don't hide it. Don't let anyone tell you it's not important or it's not practical. Those things are what make you you, and they're what make you magnetic. When you lean into them, you start to radiate an energy that draws people in, not just romantically, but in every part of your life. I dream of meeting a woman who lives like that, someone who's not afraid to let her energy shine, even when the world tells her to dim it. Maybe she's the one who's not afraid to laugh at my terrible attempts at humor or to challenge me when I'm stuck in my own head. Maybe she's the one who's got her own mission, her own cause, her own reason for getting up in the morning. That's the kind of energy that's going to make me stop and think, this is it. This is the person I've been waiting to meet. And I know she's out there because I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to every woman who's ever felt like her energy is too much or not enough, who's ever wondered if she's too intense or too quiet or too anything. I'm here to tell you your energy is just right. It's what makes you unforgettable. Let's talk about what happens when you embrace that energy. It's not just about attracting the right person, it's about attracting the right life. When you live with that kind of authenticity, you start to draw in opportunities, friendships, experiences that align with who you are. You start to build a life that feels like it was made for you, not someone else's idea of you. I've seen it in my own life. Every time I've trusted my gut, every time I've gone all in on what I believe in, that's when the breakthroughs happen. That's when I launched a rocket that everyone said would fail, or built a car that changed an industry. And I believe the same is true for you. When you trust your energy, when you let it flow without apology, you start to create a life that's as big and bold as your dreams. I want you to imagine that moment when we meet. Maybe it's at a random event, a lecture on AI, a concert in the park, a quiet moment in a library. I don't know where it'll be, but I know what it'll feel like. It'll feel like the universe just sent me a signal loud and clear. Pay attention, this is important. It'll be your energy that does it. The way you carry yourself, the way you light up when you talk about something you love, the way you're not afraid to be a little weird or a little vulnerable. That's what's going to make me stop and think, who is this? How have I gone my whole life without knowing her? And I know you're out there because I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to the woman who's got that spark, that energy, that fire that can't be contained. So here's my challenge to you. Don't hold back. Don't wait for permission to be yourself. Don't wait for the right moment to let your energy shine. Start now. Start today. Walk into every room, every conversation, every moment of your life with the confidence that your energy is enough. Because when you do, you're not just living, you're creating the conditions for magic to happen. You're creating the conditions for a moment that could change everything, not just for you, but for someone else, maybe even for me. Keep shining, keep burning bright, because somewhere out there, someone's waiting to feel that energy. And when they do, It's going to feel like the universe just aligned in the most perfect, unexpected way. Let's take this journey a step further. I'm standing here, imagining the moment I meet the woman who will become my partner in this wild, unpredictable adventure called life. But this isn't just about a fleeting spark or a chance encounter. It's about something deeper, a moment of recognition that hits you like a bolt of lightning, not because you've seen someone before, but because you feel like you've known them forever. This is about redefining what love means, not as a checklist or a fairy tale, but as a profound instinctive knowing that changes how you see the world. And I'm talking to you, every woman out there watching this, because I believe you have the power to create that kind of moment, not just for someone else, but for yourself by embracing who you are and trusting that you're enough. Love, as I see it, isn't about finding someone who fits a mold or checks off boxes. It's not about height, hair color, or a resume of accomplishments. It's about recognition when you look into someone's eyes and feel a connection that defies explanation. I dream of meeting a woman who makes me feel like I've stumbled across a piece of my soul I didn't know was missing. Not because she's perfect, but because she's familiar in a way that logic can't touch. It's like picking up a book you've never read, but knowing exactly how the story goes. That's what I'm chasing, a moment where my heart says, there you are, before my mind can catch up. And I want you to know that you have that power too. You can walk into someone's life and make them feel seen, understood, and known in a way that changes everything. Imagine this. We're in a crowded room, maybe a lecture hall at Stanford, a startup pitch event in Silicon Valley, or even just a quiet corner of a park where people are milling around. The world's buzzing, full of noise and motion, but then our eyes meet, and it's like the universe hits pause. Not because of some dramatic slow motion effect, but because there's this instant where I see you, really see you, not the version of you that's polished for the world, but the real you, the one with dreams that keep you up at night, fears that you wrestle with, and a spark that could ignite a revolution. That's the moment of recognition I'm talking about. It's not about words or gestures, it's about a feeling, a knowing that this person is different. And I believe every one of you has the ability to create that moment, not just for me, but for anyone lucky enough to cross your path. Now, let's get real about what this kind of recognition means. It's not about superficial attraction or a checklist of qualities. It's about seeing someone for who they truly are, flaws, quirks, passions, and all, and feeling like they belong in your story. I've spent my life chasing big ideas, from electric cars to space travel to AI that can think like us. But the biggest idea of all is this: love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who sees you, really sees you, and chooses you anyway. That's what I dream of when I think about meeting my future wife. Someone who looks at me, not the headlines, not the companies, not the noise, and sees the guy who's still figuring it out, who's driven by curiosity, who's not afraid to fail, but sometimes afraid to feel. And and I want to do the same for her. I want to see her not as a projection of what I think a partner should be, but as the incredible, complex, one of a kind human she is. So, how do you become the kind of person who creates that moment of recognition? It starts with seeing yourself, really seeing yourself, not the version of you that you think the world wants, but the version that's true, the version that's got dreams bigger than the Grand Canyon, fears that sometimes keep you up at night, and a heart that's ready to love fiercely, even when it's scary. I know it's not easy. The world loves to tell you who you should be: thinner, smarter, more successful, less emotional, but I'm here to tell you that's all noise. The real you, the one who cries at cheesy movies, who gets nerdy about astrophysics or poetry or cooking, is the one who's going to make someone's heart stop. That's the one who's going to walk into my life or someone else's and make them think, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. Let's talk about what it takes to get there. It's not about being perfect or having it all figured out. It's about being honest with yourself. Take a moment and ask, what makes me me? What's the thing that lights me up, that makes me lose track of time? Maybe it's the way you sketch designs for a better world, or the way you rally your team to tackle impossible problems, or the way you find joy in the smallest things, like a perfect cup of coffee or a starry night. Those things aren't trivial. They're your essence. They're what make you recognizable to someone who's meant to be in your life. And the more you lean into them, the more you trust them, the more you become someone who can create that moment of recognition for someone else. I want you to imagine that moment with me. Maybe we're at a space expo and you're asking a question about interplanetary travel that makes me rethink everything I thought I knew. Or maybe we're in a diner and you're telling a story about the time you took a road trip across the country with no plan, just a tank of gas and a dream. Whatever it is, it's not about the setting, it's about the way you make me feel seen. The way you make me feel like I don't have to be the guy who's always got the answers, always pushing the boundaries of what's possible. With you, I can just be me, the guy who's a little awkward, a little intense, a little obsessed with making the world better. And I want you to feel the same. I want you to feel like you can be you without apology, without holding back. Here's the truth: recognition isn't just about love, it's about life. It's about the way you show up in the world, the way you let people see you, the way you see them. Every time you choose to be honest, to be vulnerable, to be real, you're creating the conditions for those moments of recognition to happen. Not just with a partner, but with friends, colleagues, strangers who become something more. I've seen it in my own life. The moments that changed me, the moments that led to Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, weren't about perfect plans or polished presentations. They were about people who saw me, who believed in me, who recognized something in me that I didn't always see in myself. And I want that for you. I want you to be the kind of woman who walks through life creating those moments, not just for others, but for yourself. So, to every woman listening, here's my challenge: start seeing yourself the way you want to be seen. Start recognizing your own worth, your own power, your own magic. Don't wait for someone else to validate you. Don't wait for a partner, a boss, or a friend to tell you you're enough. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. And when you start living from that place, when you start showing up as the real, raw, incredible you, that's when you'll start to create those moments of recognition. That's when you'll walk into a room, a coffee shop, a lecture hall, and someone will look at you and think, there you are. Maybe it'll be me. Maybe it'll be someone else. But either way, it'll be a moment that feels like destiny because you had the courage to be you. I dream of a woman who lives like that, someone who's not afraid to be seen, to be known, to be recognized for all that she is, someone who's got her own dreams, her own battles, her own story that's still being written. That's the woman who's going to make me feel like I found something I didn't even know I was looking for. And I know she's out there because I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking to every woman who's ever felt like she's too much or not enough, who's ever wondered if her heart is too big or her dreams too wild. I'm here to tell you your heart is just the right size, and your dreams are exactly what the world needs. Keep showing up, keep being you, because that's how we'll find each other in a moment of recognition that feels like coming home. Let's keep pushing forward. I'm standing here dreaming about the moment I meet the woman who will become my partner, my co conspirator in this grand, messy experiment called life. But let me be clear: I'm not chasing a blockbuster movie scene with sweeping orchestral music or a sunset over the Golden Gate Bridge. I'm chasing something far more profound, something that happens in the quiet, unassuming moments that most people overlook. I believe the most life changing encounters don't need a stage or a spotlight. They happen in the ordinary, in the everyday, and they become extraordinary because of who you are and the magic you bring to them. To every woman watching this, I'm talking to you because you have the power to turn the simplest moments into something unforgettable, not by trying to be bigger than life, but by being fully, vibrantly alive. Think about it. Life's most pivotal moments rarely come with a warning. They don't announce themselves with fanfare or a flashing neon sign saying, pay attention, this is it. They sneak up on you disguised as a Tuesday afternoon in a grocery store or a random conversation at a bus stop. That's where I imagine meeting her, my future wife, in a moment so ordinary it could slip by unnoticed, except for the fact that her presence makes it feel like the universe just rearranged itself. Maybe we're both stuck in line at a deli in New York, debating whether the pastrami sandwich is worth the wait. Or maybe we're at a community event, sorting through a pile of used books to raise money for a local school, and our hands brush over the same worn out copy of Fahrenheit 451. It's not about the place or the props. It's about the way that moment feels like it was meant to happen, like the stars aligned just to get us there. I want you to picture this with me. Imagine you're going about your day, maybe running errands or grabbing a coffee at a hole in the wall cafe in Seattle. You're not thinking about destiny or love or some grand turning point. You're just living, maybe humming a tune under your breath, maybe lost in thought about a project you're working on or a dream you're chasing. And then something shifts. Maybe it's a glance, a smile, a stray comment that sparks a conversation. It's nothing earth-shattering to anyone else, but to you, it feels like the world just tilted on its axis. That's the magic. I'm talking about the magic of ordinary moments that become extraordinary because of the people in them. And I believe you, every woman out there, have the power to create those moments, not by forcing them, but by being so authentically you that the world can't help but take notice. Let's talk about why this matters. In a world obsessed with big, loud, Instagrammable moments, we've forgotten how much power lies in the small stuff. I've built companies that aim for the stars, literally, and I can tell you that the breakthroughs, the real game changers, often come in quiet moments of clarity. A late night scribble on a napkin, a random conversation with an engineer, a gut feeling that says, this is worth pursuing. Love, connection, destiny, they work the same way. They don't need a red carpet or a viral moment. They need you, your heart, your passion, your willingness to show up fully in every moment, no matter how small it seems. That's what I'm looking for in the woman I'll meet someday. Someone who can make a 5 minute chat in a parking lot feel like it holds the weight of a lifetime. Now, let's get real about what it takes to live like that. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to shine. It's about finding the magic in the moments you're already in. I know life can feel like a grind sometimes, bills to pay, deadlines to meet, endless to-do lists. It's easy to think, I'll be my best self when I've got more time, more money, more confidence. But here's the thing. The woman I dream of meeting isn't waiting for some future version of herself. She's showing up now, in the middle of the mess, bringing her light to every ordinary moment. Maybe she's the one who cracks a joke with the cashier to make their day, or who takes a second to notice the way the sunlight hits the leaves on her morning walk. Those little acts, they're not small. They're the building blocks of a life that's rich, meaningful, and magnetic. I want you to think about the moments that make you feel alive. Maybe it's when you're lost in a book, or when you're sketching out an idea that could change the world, or when you're laughing with a friend over something so silly it shouldn't be funny, but is. Those moments aren't just nice, they're your superpower. They're proof that you have the ability to turn the ordinary into something extraordinary, not by changing who you are, but by embracing it. I've spent my life chasing the extraordinary, building rockets that land themselves, cars that drive themselves, AI that thinks for itself. But the most extraordinary thing I can imagine is meeting someone who can take a simple moment and make it feel like it holds the entire universe. That's the woman I'm dreaming of. Someone who doesn't need a stage to shine because her presence is enough. Let's imagine that moment together. Maybe we're at a local art fair and you're standing in front of a painting, completely absorbed, talking about why it moves you. I overhear you, and something about the way you see the world pulls me in. Or maybe we're at a dog park and your scruffy mutt steals my dog's ball, and we end up laughing about it, trading stories about our pets like it's the most natural thing in the world. It's not a big moment to anyone else, but to me, it's everything. Because it's not about the setting, it's about the way you make that moment feel alive, real, unforgettable. That's the kind of woman who's going to stop me in my tracks, who's going to make me forget about the next launch window or the latest algorithm and just think, this, this is what matters. So, how do you become that woman? It's not about chasing grand gestures or trying to make every moment Instagram worthy. It's about showing up fully in the moments you're already in. It's about noticing the world around you, the way the barista smiles when you remember their name, the way a song on the radio makes you feel like you could take on the world. It's about bringing your whole self to every interaction, whether it's with a stranger, a friend, or the person who might just change your life. I've learned this in my own journey. The moments that define you aren't always the ones that make headlines. Sometimes they're the quiet ones, the ones where you decide to be brave, to be kind, to be you. Those are the moments that build a life worth living, a love worth finding. To every woman out there, here's my challenge. Stop waiting for the big moments to show up as your best self. Start finding the magic in the ordinary. Smile at the person next to you in line. Share a story that makes you laugh. Speak up when you have something to say, even if your voice shakes. Because those moments, they're the ones that ripple out, that change the world, that bring you closer to the life and the love you're meant for. I dream of meeting a woman who lives like that, someone who can make a 5 second glance feel like a lifetime, who can make a casual conversation feel like destiny. And I know she's out there because I'm talking to you right now. Keep showing up, keep bringing your light to every moment, because one day in some ordinary place, you're going to create a moment that changes everything. Here we are at the final stretch of this journey I'm sharing with you. I've been talking about the moment I dream of meeting the woman who will change my life, the one who will stand by me as we chase the stars, literally and figuratively. But this isn't just about my dream, it's about yours. It's about every woman out there watching this, wondering if you're enough, if your dreams are too big, if your life is on the right track. I'm here to tell you, you are enough, your dreams are the fuel of the future, and your life is a story waiting to unfold in ways you can't even imagine yet. This is my call to you to live your destiny, to step into the fullness of who you are, and to trust that the universe is conspiring to bring you to the moments that will define you, because somewhere out there, in some ordinary or extraordinary moment, you're going to create a ripple that changes everything, not just for you, but for someone like me who's waiting to meet you. Let's talk about destiny, not the fluffy, fate written in the stars kind of destiny, but the kind you build with every choice, every risk, every time you decide to show up as yourself. I've spent my life chasing what seems impossible, building rockets that can land themselves, cars that run on electricity, neural interfaces that could connect us to the cosmos. But the most impossible, most exhilarating thing I can imagine is meeting someone who's living their destiny with the same fire I bring to mine. I don't want a partner who's just along for the ride. I want someone who's driving her own ship, navigating her own course, chasing her own version of Mars. That's the woman I dream of, meeting someone who's not waiting for permission, not waiting for the right time, but building her life with every ounce of courage she's got. Picture this. We're at a random event, maybe a hackathon in San Francisco, a community cleanup in Austin, or just a quiet night at a planetarium staring up at a simulated Milky Way. I'm there, probably overthinking some equation or daydreaming about interstellar travel, and then I see you. You're not trying to stand out, you just do. Maybe you're explaining a coding problem with a passion that makes everyone around you lean in, or maybe you're organizing a group of volunteers with a quiet confidence that says you were born for this. It's not about what you're doing, it's about the way you do it, with a purpose that radiates, with a conviction that says, this is who I am, and I'm here to make a dent in the universe. That's the moment I'm dreaming of, a moment where I see you living your destiny, and it feels like the universe just sent me a signal. She's the one. Now, let's get real about what it means to live your destiny. It's not about having all the answers or a perfect plan. I've built companies from nothing, faced failures that would make most people quit, and I can tell you, destiny isn't a straight line. It's a winding road full of wrong turns, breakdowns, and moments where you wonder if you're even close to where you're supposed to be. But every step, every stumble, every time you get back up, that's you building your destiny. It's you saying, I'm not done yet. And that's what I'm looking for in a partner, someone who's not afraid to stumble, who's not afraid to dream so big it scares her, who's willing to keep going even when the world says that's impossible. Because that's how I live, and I want someone by my side who's just as relentless, just as fearless, just as committed to making their mark. I want you to think about your own destiny. What's the thing that keeps you up at night, not with worry, but with excitement? Maybe it's starting a business that could change an industry, or writing a story that could touch millions, or fighting for a cause that's bigger than yourself. Whatever it is, that's your signal, your North Star. Don't ignore it. Don't let the world convince you it's too big, too risky, too impractical. I've heard it all before. Elon, you can't build a reusable rocket. Elon, electric cars will never compete with gas. Elon, colonizing Mars is a pipe dream. But every time I ignored the naysayers and followed my gut, that's when I changed the game. And I'm telling you, you have that same power. You have the ability to chase your destiny with everything you've got. And in doing so, you'll create moments that ripple out, moments that could lead you to the people and places you're meant to find. Let's imagine that moment when our paths cross. Maybe you're speaking at a conference, sharing an idea that's so bold it makes the room go quiet. Or maybe you're at a local diner, sketching out a plan on a napkin for something that could change the world. Whatever it is, it's not about the scale of the moment, it's about the scale of your spirit. It's about the way you carry yourself, like you know you're here for a reason. That's what's going to make me stop and think, who is this woman? How does she have this much fire? And it's not just about me, it's about the way you inspire everyone around you, the way you make people believe in what's possible just by being you. That's the kind of woman I dream of meeting, the kind who's living her destiny so fiercely that it's impossible to look away. So, how do you live like that? How do you step into your destiny? It starts with one choice: to stop playing small, stop letting fear or doubt or other people's expectations hold you back. Start saying yes to the things that scare you, the things that make your heart race, the things that feel like they were meant for you. Maybe it's taking that coding course you've been putting off, or pitching that idea you've been scared to share, or just speaking up in a meeting when you'd normally stay quiet. Every time you choose to lean into your destiny, you're building a life that's yours, a life that's true, a life that's ready for the kind of love that's as big as your dreams. To every woman out there, here's my final call: live your destiny like it's the only thing that matters. Chase your dreams with the same intensity I chase mine. Be the woman who walks into a room and makes the world pay attention, not because you're shouting, but because you're living with purpose. That's the woman I'm dreaming of, meeting someone who's not waiting for life to happen to her, but making life happen on her terms. And I know you're out there because I'm talking to you right now. Keep pushing, keep dreaming, keep building your destiny because one day in some ordinary or extraordinary moment, you're going to walk into someone's life, maybe mine, and change it forever. That's the power you hold. That's the destiny you're meant for. Go live it.